He was just like so fucking horrible to me. He just treated me like a stupid black bitch. And it was like so painful for me, and everybody was like, well, you're the fucking dumbass because you stayed, and you're just a stupid black bitch because you let him treat you like one. And like, I know that the situation was my fault because I should have just left, but like, it really fucking hurt because like, I had sex with him and he basically just like used me for sex. He was like white guy in a frat. And so basically I ended up seeing him at Target when I was there with my old best friend like at the time. And he wouldn't look me in the eyes. He wouldn't say anything. It was like he was ashamed of me and just like embarrassed. Which is like how most people get about me, and it was like so fucking painful. And so I stood up for myself and said what I needed to say to him. And he ran away from me when I was speaking to him. And my friend was like, that's humiliating. Like, she was like, you just embarrass yourself, and like, that's pathetic for you as a black woman to do something that stupid.
SJ, take it, fool!
Just like a lot of the things on TikTok that we love and celebrate are literally carried by Black artists and creators, I wanted to highlight some of the Black women that I love and follow who are leading the conversation in herpes advocacy. And if you don't follow them already, you should be.
Right, good, no hands, right, grip my hip.
For STD free, I challenge you to tell someone that you have an STD. Now, I know you don't have an STD, and I challenge you to do so that you can feel the weight of the stigma for someone who does have an STD.
Wanna disrespect me? Let him apologize and eat it in a baggie.
There no reservations at the pussy, you gon' eat out. I'm gonna ride it, do it just how you like it tonight.
No funny videos about my herpes, but I wanted to come on here and make a more serious one. I've been talking about herpes for about 6 months now, and one of the biggest misconceptions that I've noticed when people want to talk about their STD status is that we're doing it for clout.
For those of you that are scared to disclose your genital herpes status, or if you're just getting diagnosed and you feel ashamed or embarrassed, I want you to know that a lot of people aren't going to judge you or shame you. It's really not a big deal. A lot of people are aware of the fact that genital herpes is only socially stigmatized. I wanted to become more vocal and advocate for it. And I know that in the herpes community, it's not a lot of Black women talking about their genital herpes experiences and their sex life and their dating life after it. And, you know, I'm a junior in college. I'm obviously engaging in hookup culture. I'm having fun. I'm going to parties. You know what I mean? I'm doing my thing. And
These women, because if I didn't come across them early on in my journey, they literally make me feel better every time I watch their videos, because as much as we talk about it, it still feels good to be supported by other advocates and see other advocates out there talking about it. So I know there are other Black creators in the space that I probably haven't come across, so please feel free to tag them in the comments, and love you.
All right, before I get started, I just want to say that this commentary is my assumption, right? My assumption, okay? Right? It's based on an assumption by me, by myself, and fair use for, you know, the TikToks that I used to make it, right? Now, a while back, a couple hours ago actually, you know, a whole fucking day, I put out a commentary about these boys that apparently were part of a penguin party, you know, well, God knows where, you know, but, you know, I just hope those guys kept their heads on the swivel, you know. But before I went into that commentary, I showed an old clip, I think it's about 2 years old now, of this female who went by the handle Samara691, crying and convulsing about being treated like trash by a white guy that she was interested in, a frat boy that she had hooked up with and allowed herself to be used sexually like an object, okay? And she had allowed herself to be used, and she was roasted by Tariq Nasheed and the internet and shit. And I wanted clarity. You know, I had seen her, I was thinking about doing a commentary to go further, but I had already fucked with her real bad and shit. You know, I had already, you know, fucked with her. okay, with the commentary. I'll just be honest about that, right? But like we see her in this clip, telling her story and how her childhood friend, bitch, gave her the business for, embarrassing herself and black women in general by throwing herself at the feet of a white man, a white frat boy and shit of all things, you know. And then, I watched another video where someone was trying to talk to her. I don't know if it was TikTok or Instagram, but they were asking her if she was going to date white men and, again after that. And she said that she would date white men, and she wasn't into black guys, I suppose. I really don't know. But like, another video, you see her all dolled up and everything, she doesn't look like how she looked in that video where she's crying and everything. She's wearing like the bonnet and she's got her glasses on. She's all fucked up in the head and she's crying and losing it because the white dude kicked her to the curb. He didn't treat her like a human being. And I was like, when I look at that and I listen to that bullshit and I know that she's, I guess a swirler, I suppose, an avid swirler. I was like, what do you expect and shit, What do you expect? When I was living on the West Coast for like a good 29 years, I had the opportunity to talk to many Caucasian men from all points of the globe and shit. And they all universally said that, more or less that they considered black women practice girls and shit, or girls that you hooked up with or got with after you exhausted all your options and shit, literally, some of these guys were hooking up with black women, like shitty black women, not high tier, unless they were a star or something. Shitty ass black women, because they were out of options. They had got a divorce and, it still had some relative wealth and shit, so they could just throw her a few chips, whatever she got that she thought she was balling. It was just pocket change to these guys that was using her. And I'm not even making this video to rant about that, but, I do would like to put that out there, for some of these fucking divestors and swirlers who continually bitch and convulge and make these terrorist videos on black men and shit, just terror porn videos on black men every fucking day, It's one of the reasons I make fucking videos every goddamn day. I want to be honest about that, And, I feel a need to provide a greater service and to talk to young men out there so that they don't go through the things that their forebears went through, But yeah, I was looking at this, I was looking up Samara here, Samara 691, and I went looking for her on social media, and I found that she was gone. She had scrubbed her presence from social media, so she thought. She had scrubbed it, she wasn't there. I want you to keep in mind that, in the video, she's really distraught and upset and everything. And it just makes the other party look a certain kind of way. Whether you feel that, however you feel about his race and everything and that legacy that those people carry, no offense and shit to the Dom and Ed and shit at this point. The reason, I'm not a bit long-winded, I found another video, which I was looking at, and I was going to make a video about that because I found this white female, and I thought she was trolling black women. I literally thought she was trolling black women. My heart was in the right place for sisters and shit. Can you believe that? And avert misogynists and shit, and the ethnic community anarchists and shit, such as myself, was irritated and shit, that I felt a Caucasian woman was trolling black women. But then when I looked at the entire clip, I was just blown the fuck away and shit. This day and age, we have a tendency to just see things that, get our gander up and shit and just go full blast away. I'm no different and shit, But I think about it, I have a lot of videos no one's ever seen. There's a lot of videos nobody can see. I would be banned off the internet. I'd be like a Andrew Tate and shit, And I don't believe in his shtick. Yeah, I saw this white girl. She was talking about herpes advocates for herpes. And she was big up in black women and shit. She was big up in black women for, leading the way in herpes advocacy. And, I realized, when I changed my mind and decided to go back to this original clip was because, I realized this white girl that she had herpes, She was full blown with the herpes. I don't know what simplex she had, but she had herpes. And then she showed a number of clips of other women that had herpes, okay? They had herpes. Like full blown herpes and shit. All black women. Right? Go figure. You know, she ain't showing any guys there. You know, I'm not saying they don't. There's a lot of guys out there that's burning, you know, people and shit. And you should always play safe and shit. You know, even though, like, they showed all these black women and they were talking about how they felt about having herpes and, you know, fighting the social stigma of herpes and shit. You know, basically saying you should still sleep with them even though they have herpes and shit. I want to tell a story so bad, man, but, you know, fuck that shit. Yeah, the last person that she showed in her video was Samara 691. Yeah, puts things in perspective, right? So when we go back and we listen to Samara in this clip, talking about this white boy, how he didn't want to be seen with her, how he was ashamed and shit. How we know she didn't burn this motherfucker? I say that allegedly, okay? I don't have any proof one way or the other. But how do we know she didn't give him the clap or something, or she didn't give him a social disease, and that's why he was behaving that way and shit for the most part? You know, maybe somebody told him that she burnt them, and he got weird and shit. But she said the guy looked ashamed to be seen with her and shit. You know, you look at the Tariq Nasheed video on it, where he's busting jokes. He's just talking about some, you know, racial shit, you know, and it's probably wholly racial. I ain't caping for no dominant minority majority. I ain't caping for they fucking ass, okay? I don't ride like that. But I'm saying that we see the whole picture now. You know, we see her bitching and crying and shit, and then we don't necessarily see the guy saying he got burned. No guy's gonna go on and say they're burned, because that's it. That's a wrap. You know, you got the herpes, the herp. Yeah, maybe allegedly she gave this guy something and shit, and he was irritated about it, okay? Or maybe he found out about it and he didn't want to be seen with her, because, you know, some people don't react the best of ways if you give them a social disease. Shame, shame, shame. I don't know. All I know is that, you know, this chick is crying and, you know, she took her shit on in front of the world. She went viral and shit, and now she's gone. You know? And, you know, good luck to her. You know, maybe they'll find a cure for herpes. You know, maybe they'll find a cure. There's all of these black women, now it's black low tier, you know, the kind of usual suspects, tattooed up, you know, wearing Magic City uniform, all that bullshit, fake hair, all that shit. Even Samara herself appears in a, you know, in a more cleaned up version of herself. The version of herself that she goes to the club and picks up guys with, you know, or guys pick up on her and they get lucky the first night, you know, allegedly. You know, what we see in that video, you know, is what she presents to the world. We saw her crying and bitching to the world, playing victim and shit. And then in this Herpes Advocate video, we see what she looks like when she's a veritable Typhoid Mary.
They say you look like Rihanna.
She hates me.
Why?
Because I worked with her a few years ago on, this is when she had her foundation. Right before she launched her what was it at that time? That
Fenty?
But no, I think it was before the Fenty, because it was whatever Kylie came out with. They all went in fucking cahoots. They were all arguing with each other. And that was when Kim came out with her line, Kylie came out with her line. But Rihanna had this foundation back in 2015, and it was her white gala. And that was when she kind of like was sponsored on med beds, high tech, all that. Well, I helped fundraise her gala here in Hollywood. Well, she was fucking my boss and gave my boss chlamydia. And here I am, the hoe, alleged hoe. Yeah, I am a hoe. But everyone thought that I was the one fucking my boss, and in all reality, it was this bitch. And so it just literally got to the point where all that shit came out, that she got him sick, that because he was married. He's can you put your seatbelt on? Or behind you. You don't have to put it on, but behind you. He's a king, or he's a prince in Africa. And so he came out here back in 2013, worked with Global Canvasser, which was a nonprofit, and then worked with UNICEF in the United Nations. That's where I got on, and I was able to partner with UNICEF in the United Nations. So I lived out in Australia for a little bit, working with this corporation. Well, right before that, They were fucking around. I think she was, I don't know if it was Travis. I don't know who the fuck Rihanna was fucking, but got dirty and got him dirty. And it was this whole thing. Well, she had her gala, and here I am. It was her white party gala. I'm dressed, I'm ready, I'm going after raising so much money for her thing, for his thing, for the company's thing. I show up. Sorry, Harley, but Rihanna said that you can't get in. Okay, cool. And that was in 2016. Then after that, I ended up partnering more on board with her ex-boss. And his name was Lil Mac Tubaya. What the fuck are you doing, you fat fuck? No, that was my light. But yeah, she hates me. There's that Foundation song that she came out with, and that was like, I don't lie about this shit. Like, it's to the point, like, even if I wanted to lie, I can't even make up a lie to lie about it.